Want to know which Egyptian god are you? Watch the video till the end. This test has 10 questions that are related to your personality preferences. You will have 10 seconds to think about each question. After each question, you will get a point. In the end, add up all the points to get the result. Don't think too long and go with your gut. You will get the most accurate result that way. Let's begin! Choose an element: earth, air, fire, water. Choose an animal: hawk, cat, cow, ibis. Choose a plant: palm, anthurium, lotus, sugar cane. Choose a region to rule: sky, town, desert, underworld. Choose a monument: temple, palace, pyramids, sphinx. Choose a symbol: ankh, a scrap beetle, eye of Ra, lotus. Choose one to master: knowledge, war, necromancy, fertility. Choose a mythical creature: sphinx, capri, apophis, griffin. Choose a Viking God: Odin, Loki, Thor, Freya. Choose a Greek god: Zeus, Hades, Apollo, Poseidon. Well done! Now let's find out which Egyptian god you are.
Score 100 to 120. Osiris, god of the underworld. Osiris, one of Egypt's most important deities, was the god of the underworld. He also symbolized death, resurrection, and the cycle of Nile floods that Egypt relied on for agricultural fertility. According to the myth, Osiris was a king of Egypt who was murdered and dismembered by his brother Seth. His wife Isis reassembled his body and resurrected him, allowing them to conceive a son, the god Horus. He was represented as a mummified king, wearing wrappings that left only the green skin of his hands and face exposed. Score 130 to 150. Anubis, god of the dead. Anubis was concerned with funerary practices and the care of the dead. He was usually represented as a jackal or as a man with the head of a jackal. The association of jackals with death and funerals likely arose because Egyptians would have observed jackals scavenging around cemeteries. In the Old Kingdom, before Osiris rose to prominence as the lord of the underworld, Anubis was considered the principal god of the dead. According to the Osiris myth, Anubis embalmed and wrapped the body of the murdered king, becoming the patron god for embalmers. Score 160 to 180. Isis, goddess of good fortune, and protector of the dead. As the wife of the god of the underworld, Isis was also one of the main deities concerned with rites for the dead. Along with her sister Nephthys, Isis acted as a divine mourner, and her maternal care was often depicted as extending to the dead in the underworld. As the devoted wife who resurrected Osiris after his murder, and raised their son Horus, Isis embodied the traditional Egyptian virtues of a wife and mother. Score 190 to 210. Set, god of the desert and chaos. Seth was the god of chaos, violence, deserts, and storms. In the Osiris myth, he is the murderer of Osiris. In some versions of the myth, he tricks Osiris into laying down in a coffin and then seals it shut. He is often depicted as an animal or as a human with the head of an animal. He usually has a long snout and long ears that are squared at the tips. In his fully animal form, he has a thin dog-like body and a straight tail with a tuft on the end. Many scholars now believe that no such animal ever existed and that the Seth animal is some sort of mythical composite. Score 220 to 240. Bastet, goddess of the moon. In her earliest forms, the cat goddess Bastet was represented as a woman with the head of a lion or a wild cat. She took the less ferocious form of a domestic cat in the first millennium BCE. In later periods she was often represented as a regal-looking seated cat, sometimes wearing rings in her ears or nose. Score 250 to 270. Ra, god of the sun. One of several deities associated with the sun, the god Ra was usually represented with a human body and the head of a hawk. It was believed that he sailed across the sky in a boat each day, and then made a passage through the underworld each night, during which he would have to defeat the snake god Apophis to rise again. Score 280 to 300. Horus, god of the sky. Depicted as a falcon or as a man with a falcon's head, Horus was a sky god associated with war and hunting. He was also the embodiment of divine kingship, and in some eras, the reigning king was considered to be a manifestation of Horus. According to the Osiris myth, Horus was the son of Isis and Osiris, magically conceived after the murder of Osiris by his brother Seth. Horus was raised to avenge his father's murder. One tradition holds that Horus lost his left eye fighting with Seth, but his eye was magically healed by the god Thoth. Because the right and left eyes of Horus were associated, respectively, with the sun and the moon, the loss and restoration of Horus's left eye gave a mythical explanation for the phases of the moon. Score 310 to 330. Thoth, god of knowledge. Thoth, the god of writing and wisdom, could be depicted in the form of a baboon or a sacred ibis or as a man with the head of an ibis. He was believed to have invented language and the hieroglyphic script and to serve as a scribe and advisor for the gods. As the god of wisdom, Thoth was said to possess knowledge of magic and secrets unavailable to the other gods. Score 340 to 360. Hathor, goddess of the sky and fertility. The goddess Hathor was usually depicted as a cow, as a woman with the head of a cow, or as a woman with cow's ears. Hathor embodied motherhood and fertility, and it was believed that she protected women in childbirth. She also had an important funerary aspect, being known as the Lady of the West. Tombs were generally built on the west bank of the Nile. In some traditions, she would welcome the setting sun every night. Living people hoped to be welcomed into the afterlife in the same way. Score 370 to 400. AMUN, God of the Air. Before rising to national importance in the New Kingdom, the god AMUN was worshipped locally in the southern city of Thebes. AMUN was a god of the air, and the name probably means the hidden one. He was usually represented as a man wearing a crown with two vertical plumes. His animal symbols were the ram and the goose. After the rulers of Thebes rebelled against a dynasty of foreign rulers known as the Hyksos, and re-established native Egyptian rule throughout Egypt, AMUN received credit for their victory. In a form merged with the sun god Ra, he became the most powerful deity in Egypt, a position he retained for most of the New Kingdom.
Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. And you can ring the bell to see the next videos. Leave us a comment below and mention what topic you want us to address in the next videos. I hope you have a great day.